What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make window fly screens step by step yourself from home. We're going to be using minimal tools on a budget. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's do this. Alright guys, so to do this on a budget yourself from home, this is what you're going to need. First thing is our fly screen frame. Now this one here is 2.5 meters long. It comes in a variety of different colors and they're only $9 each. So they're really cheap and simple to do all of this project yourself from home. Fly screen mesh, we've got our spline roller. If you're not sure what any of these components or tools are, you're going to see just how simple they are in a few minutes. Flathead screwdriver, we've got our spline. There's a little Sharpie here as well. Our little corner stakes. We've got a miter box, hacksaw, and our tape measure. That's pretty much all we're going to need. The only different thing that might vary for you guys, or actually should vary, is your sizing. So calculate your height and your width of the fly screen that you want to make, and I'll see you guys in a second. So now that you've got your measurements, in my particular case, it's 855 in millimeters in width and 1130 in height. We're going to start off by cutting our first corner or our first angle on our fly screen frame using our miter box. Now with the miter box, in case you're not familiar with angles, two 45-degree cuts makes a 90-degree corner. So that's what we're going to do here. Cut our first one at 45 degrees. The only thing you need to keep in mind when cutting your fly screen frame is you can see this little ridge here. That's going to be on the inside of the fly screen itself. So I'll show you guys what I mean by that in a second. It'll start to make sense. So just always remember, your shorter side that you're cutting with your miter cuts is going to be for this section here, which there's a little ridge, and the other side is going to be the longest side. So we're going to start off by making our first cut. This one in particular doesn't have to be specific. We're just basically giving myself a starting point, and then I'm going to take my measurement from there. So once again, remember to keep this as your shorter side, the side with the little ridge here, and we're going to make our first cut with the hacksaw. And once that's cut, we've got our first little miter cut right here. So now we take our tape measure and we can put it on this outside corner here. This is going to be the outside of our frame, and we're going to measure up the width or the height depending on which one you're going to start with first. In my case, we're going to start off on the width first, 855. So make sure you hold that in place. Mark up with the Sharpie on 855. And now we're going to make our second cut. So we've got our first 45-degree cut right here. The outside corner is the longer side. The side with the ridge is the shorter side. Move all the way across to our next marking, which is right here. And once again, that's going to be our outside cut and our inside cut here for our angle. So we take our marking, line that up, and once again, we're going to cut, making sure that that marking there is going to be the outside corner. That way we've got our perfect width here. So now that side's been cut. Once again, I know I'm repeating it, but it's very important. Outside corner is up here. The inside of the corner is down here with the bridge. So this here is now one piece that I've cut, ready to go. I'm going to repeat the process. You need 2 for your width and 2 for your height. So I'm going to repeat these exact same measurements one more time, and then I'm going to calculate my next one for my height, which was at 1130. Repeat the process, 2 more pieces, and I'll see you guys in a bit. So now we've cut our frame into 4 pieces. We've got 2 for our width. You can put them up against each other, make sure they're nice and flush on one end. Check the other side, make sure it's also flush. Easy way to make sure that you've got everything square and you've cut them right. And the same for our height. So once again, we've got 2. Make sure they're nice and flush on both sides, and they're perfect, ready to go. Now it's time to assemble our frame using our corner stakes. Now the corner stakes help give that the strength and try and hold everything into place. With the corner stakes, they only go in one way, so you can flip them over the other way. However, they won't actually slot into the frame. You can start on the width or the height, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you've got it the right way. You can see there's a little lip here, a recessed area, and that slots into our little channel down the bottom here. You can push these in by hand. Generally, they're pretty easy to push in by hand. If you find they're a little bit tight, you can use the hammer and just give them a slight tap like that, and that'll also help you get it in there. We'll take our height now, push them in place, and then all we're going to do is squeeze these 2 joints together until we've got a perfect miter just like that. So we're going to do the same thing again. move that one there across. Take our corner stake, slot that one there in, and then we take our width and slot the other side in as well. Make sure we've got a nice tight miter. And then with the last one, the way I like to do it is I'll take my individual piece, put in the two stakes, get them as square as possible. I'll just try and make sure this is in the frame for you guys. Then I'll take my end piece and I'll slot that one there in. That's the easiest way to get it in without too much difficulty. Try getting them both roughly at the same time. Push your miters in together so that they're nice and tight and square. And now we've got the frame ready to go. So I'm going to quickly take the camera and this frame to a nice flat open area so I can show you guys how to install the mesh. So another tool that I forgot to mention was the utility blade. So make sure you've got a nice sharp utility blade. We're going to take our new mesh, roll that over the frame, making sure we've got enough overhang on all sides, and then we're going to cut that one there off. Being careful not to get the area underneath that you're working with. So now you want to take your spline, and this is why I said you need to keep this little ridge here on the inside of your frame. So we need to get this one here, line it up at the start. We take the flathead screwdriver and we press that one there in place. Once it's pressed in, everything's nice and secure. We can then take our spline roller. I like to always feed this over where I'm going to roll it. Take the spline roller and then just roll that spline into that ridge. And then you can see we've got it perfectly secure all the way there, and we're going to continue around the next corner. So once again, we're going to need our screwdriver. Simply put a little bend on it around that corner and then just press it into the corner. Take your spline roller and roll that one there in. And we're going to repeat the process around the next two corners. And once you get to the end, you can then trim it off. Make sure everything's pressed in nicely. And now we're going to trim off our excess material around our frame. So the way that I like to do this is I'll start off on one corner, cut it in order to free it up just a little bit so that I can work that area a little bit better. And I'm going to take the blade, rest it on top of the spline and cut that frame around, being careful not to puncture the inside. And we're just going to trim that excess there off. Follow it all the way around. And once that's all done, guys, we've got a perfect fly screen ready to be installed. Nice and easy, simple, straightforward. Anybody can do it, especially if you're on a budget. Now, I've shown you guys how to do it using a hacksaw, a miter box. Obviously, if you use a drop saw, it's going to be a lot more easier and a lot quicker. But at the end of the day, this is a DIY channel. Now you guys can do it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. You've learned something new and I've saved you some money. As always, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.